Welcome back to the workbench. Today I'm taking a look at this, the Airfix 1/72nd scale Higgins LCVP. Join me as I take a look inside the box and find out what's included. Hi, I'm Matt and you're watching Model Minutes. Before I start the video, a quick shout out to my patrons. A massive thank you to you for the support that you give me. To find out what patronage means, check out the links under the video. So today I'm taking a look at this, the Airfix 1/72nd scale Higgins LCVP. And if you're a regular follower of my channel, you'll know that I don't really build that many boats. So this is going to be quite an interesting review for me. So on the front here, we've got a nicely drawn image of the landing craft with some crew members, slightly choppy seas, and it seems to be alongside a larger vessel awaiting embarkation or having perhaps just disembarked troops up to the ship. On this side here, it indicates that there are two different paint schemes, one in this white, blue and red, and another one in this grey and black. The rear of the box features nothing other than a code here. This side of the box features multilingual safety information along with some images that indicate that this is not suitable for those aged 8 years and under, and that elements of this are recyclable. The other side of the box features information about the actual Higgins LCVP, and it also indicates the two different included decal options. One for a Royal Navy vessel in Normandy and one for a US Navy vessel in Normandy. Here it indicates the common paint colours, which are 32 and 33, and specifically for A you'll need 34, 70 and 96, and just for B you'll need 145. It's a skill level 1, so it shouldn't be too difficult to assemble, and the ever standard flying hour is also included. You get one of those, cut that out and keep it, because if you're a member of the Airfix club you may be able to redeem them against more models. The edges of the box just feature the same artwork as previously on the front. So let's open up the box and find out what's inside. As usual, I'm going to take a look at the instructions first. Very familiar format that we're used to. Multilingual information about the actual landing craft along with some specifications, and then down the bottom you'll find the addresses and some safety notes from Airfix. Turning over the page, information is continued with some assembly instructions and also a key to the different symbols that you might encounter during the build. So let's take a look at the stages. The stages feature 3D rendered images which are exploded and demonstrate how you assemble the kit. So in the first stage you can see there's not a great amount going on in each step, but what I quite like about these is that they've color coded, so the orange areas are the steps you previously completed. So we seem to be assembling the sort of cab of the landing craft, moving on to the hull, adding the propeller, and it would appear here that there are elements that you don't need to cement, so perhaps the propeller can spin freely when it's been assembled. Moving on to adding more details, and you can see that the different paint numbers are actually annotated as you go through, so it makes it easier. And there's also a cradle included for the landing craft, so you don't have to position it in a water scenario or a diorama. You can actually position it on this on land if you wanted to. Moving on, it says here that we can position the door open or closed, which is quite a nice addition. And we get to the last step here where we're adding the final machine guns, and that's 9 steps in total. So yes, a skill level 1 indeed, 9 steps to build this up. Some of the steps do seem a little bit busy. There's a lot going on here, so you just need to make sure you don't miss anything out. Maybe they could have expanded it a little bit, but it doesn't look like it will be too difficult. One thing I have noticed as we've been going through is that there are no crew figures. On the box artwork, there's crew. In the instructions, there hasn't been any figures to add to the model or to paint. So let's take a look in a moment at the sprues and find out. But first, oh, there's the decals, we'll put them there for a moment. You get a glossy colour painting instruction booklet. Now I've not seen one of these from Airfix before. Normally it's part of the actual instruction booklet, but this is a little sheet that comes by itself, and it's glossy and full colour, which I really like. So the first one here is for LCVP of the Royal Navy, Normandy, June 1944. And you can see all the different colours that are laid out, and also where the decals need to go. Flipping over, and we've got the same sort of deal, but this time for a LCVP of the US Navy in Normandy. So you get two different options here, and you can tell that one is a little bit more colourful than the other. So if you know which version you'd like me to paint, and I'm probably edging towards this one at the moment, make sure you put it in the comments down below. Inside of there we had the decals, so let's take a look at these. So the decals are up to the normal standard you can expect from Airfix. Skill level 1, so there aren't that many. The bottom ones are for the US Navy and the top ones are for the Royal Navy. And there is some tiny little printing there that tells you that. But the quality looks to be quite good, and I can't see any tears or rips. I guess all that remains to be seen is how well they actually go onto the model when we apply them. Let's get into the bag and take a look at all the bits. One, two, three sprues. The thing that strikes me about this is that a lot of the components are quite large. The majority of them are sort of the hull and the sidewalls. There are a few smaller details, but they don't look too fine and fiddly. So on this sprue here we've got some of the smaller details, the steering wheels and gun mounts by the looks of it. We've got the door here at the front and the bottom of the hull along with the top part as well, and bits of the cradle. And I think, to be honest, the detailing looks really good on this, and there doesn't seem to be any flash that I can see. Maybe there's a few little tiny bits in places, but overall that's really well moulded. I mean, I can't speak for the accuracy as I don't really know anything about this type of landing craft, so perhaps you might spot something that I haven't, but it looks to be really well moulded to me. Moving on, we've got the sort of vehicle base here, you know, where you put the vehicle when you drive it in. Various parts of the deck and the machine guns here, and other bits of the cradle that it sits on if you're on land. And again, these look to be really well moulded. I can't see any issues there. And the final sprue, we've got the sides of the landing craft and some nice detail on there with the rivets. And again, there doesn't seem to be any flash actually visible on this one. I have noticed there's a bit of mould release there, so I'm going to have to make sure I give it a good clean, because it does feel a little bit oily actually. It's not as oily as some of the other vintage classic kits, but it does feel like it will need a bit of a wash. So a reminder of what we get: 3 nicely moulded sprues in a sort of grey-blue plastic, a nicely printed set of decals, a glossy full colour decal and painting instruction sheet, an easy to follow set of instructions, and a nicely illustrated box. So retailing for $9.99 in the United Kingdom at the time this video was made, let's just call it £10. Is it value for money? I think that it kind of is. I think the only thing that puts it off a little bit is the lack of crew figures. Airfix used to put crew figures in practically every vehicle that they used to manufacture, and it's a little bit sad now that they haven't included it. I would have loved to have some and put them in there and have them doing something as part of a diorama perhaps. Now I'm going to have to go away and source my own figures as a result. But generally I think £10 is sort of about right for this sort of product. It's got some really good features in there, and it should be an interesting build. If you could get this cheaper though, I obviously implore you to do so. And if I'm honest, I'm actually looking forward to making a start on this, because I haven't made that many boats on my channel at the moment, so this should be a good addition. So if you'd like to see me build this one, make sure you put a comment down below, and also let me know the different paint scheme you'd want me to do. Don't forget that I'm also interested in other suggestions you might have for videos, so feel free to post that too. All that's left to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the workbench again next time.